It's Ethan here from New Age Electrical, and today I'll be showcasing our latest project, Kingscliff TAFE Stage 2. New Age were awarded the design and construct contract for the Stage 2 upgrade of the Kingscliff TAFE. The project comprised of 2 new TAFE buildings, the upgrade of site reticulation and essential services, coordination with Level 1 contractors for the pad mount substation, the supply and installation of new consumer mains, design and installation of a new main switchboard, relocation of existing site infrastructure, and various site lighting upgrades around the campus. The project was completed in 8 months, and it required precise planning and sequencing to ensure that all of our works done here were to be completed within the time frame and did not disturb the TAFE while it remained live and operational. So one of the first challenges that we had to overcome was existing sub-mains for Buildings P, Buildings H and the high school, all running through the new buildings footprint. We trenched and ran a new underground conduit system and pulled new sub-mains that wrapped around the building's footprint and enabled us to chop, reconnect, re-energize these 3 buildings while getting it out of the way of B1's footprint so that B1 could commence building. So down this end of the hall, we have the wet lab and the dry lab. Inside the wet lab here, we've installed pendant outlets above the workstation desks, powered skirted ducting around the stainless steel workstations, and various other dedicated power circuits for the equipment that they'll be using in these rooms. We have the dry lab, is very much the same. We've installed pendant outlets above the desks in here, GPOs above the stainless steel workstation areas around the perimeter of the room, and various other dedicated power circuits that they'll use for the equipment in here as well. So down here, on the right-hand side, we have the aviation room. This is going to be equipped with a flight simulator. On the left-hand side, we have our X-ray and imaging rooms, which are going to be equipped with X-ray and imaging machinery. As we enter into the lobby, we have our exposed services section. Now, this was one of the challenges of this job. Our cable pathways sit above the rest of the services. We had to work in with all the other trades to ensure that all of our hangers were in the right locations, our heights were at the right locations, and just the actual pathway through here, because it had to follow a very specific path. Now, the other challenge with this was the fact that the building was built in 3 different stages and in 3 different parts essentially. And while we were roughing in, our first distribution board, which is down this hall to the left and one of the furthest points away, was disconnected because this whole section was missing. So we had feeds and we had everything else that we were pulling that we had to essentially temporarily catenary across here while the rest of the construction happened. And then at a later date, we came back and filled in the rest of this tray section. We're now going to give you a bit of a look of one of our DBs on the project, and I'm going to hand you over to Josh, who's going to give you a rundown of how we built the switchboards and why we chose the products that we did.
Thank you, Ethan. Okay, so one of the things that got us this project was our ability to provide the client with some cost-saving alternatives. And one of the biggest cost savings we gave them was the distribution boards. Now, we decided to go with the Hager boards, which resulted in a substantial amount of reduced costs. What we've done with these boards is design them with a dual chassis, separating the power and the lighting. And these also have the energy meters integrated into them, which will also talk back to the BMS system. We installed the Philips Dynalight system with Dali control. So also all these classrooms are controlled via sensors for occupancy. They also all have PE cells, which allows for the daylight harvesting. So that also helps with the energy efficiency of the building. Now, all through the hallways are controlled by sensors. So that's also going to help with not allowing lights to be left on during when no one's walking through the hallways. And that's all automated through our lighting system. So the addition of such a large building to this site, it actually included the installation of a new pad mount substation. So we were contracted to install new sets of 300mm fire rated mains to get from the pad sub into our new MSB. That all had to happen via underboring. So that was obviously another big challenge that we had to face. We also had to help with forming up of this underneath this pit here. There's a pull-through pit underneath the board that you actually can't see. Now, getting our conduits all lined up into this perfectly was a challenge that I know the guys had. So with that, we have upgraded this site now to a 1600 amp main supply. So this main board also feeds building P, building H, and our new building 2. We also have future provision here for a power factor correction unit, which will be getting installed down the track. And also all of our metering for every single switchboard or submain is within this board here. So part of our upgrade to the site's power meant our termination and level 2 connection into this pad mount substation, where we worked alongside some level 1 contractors to install the new sub.
All right, now it's time for our favourite end of the building, the Electrotech. Down here features an electro lab and a wiring workshop, and both of which will be used to train the future of our industry, electricians. Okay, so each one of these wiring workshop booths is equipped with a 3-phase step-down transformer, which is 240 in, 41 volts out. It comes down to these banana plugs here, which are also 3-phase and allow for the safe testing and learning of all electrical installations, single-phase through to 3-phase. There's also general power on the walls here, as well as a comms rack and a removable ply panel for learning all the different wiring and other techniques used in our industry. So we're in the Electro Lab now, and it's made up of 9 different testing booths. Very similar setup to next door in the wiring workshop, with a 240 volt in 3-phase transformer, step down transformer, with a variable dial so that apprentices can choose and adjust what voltage they're working with a maximum of 41 volts again. This all comes out through the banana plate here mounted on the stainless steel, which again allows for the safe testing and learning of electrical wiring systems and everything that you need to know and learn as an apprentice studying here. Here's a look inside our distribution board for the Electro Lab, very similar to the one that's in the wiring workshop, where we've run dedicated circuits for each workstation along with dedicated power circuits for each workstation as well. We're now standing in front of B2, the second building on campus that was being constructed at the same time as the first. This building's made up of 3 different sections. The front is forklift training, the middle's carpentry, and the back is horticulture. We had to do about 200 metres worth of trenching and underboring to install the new mains for the new distribution board that we installed on this building. We also installed a wide array of high bay lighting that's controlled through sensors, and we've chosen this option just as power saving, you know, so that they're not always on and that they're only switched on and used when people are here actually learning. We're now standing in front of the new hydrant pump room and potable water pump. Both of these were involved in the reticulation works that we were doing at the same time as B1 and B2. Now, this involved over 300 metres worth of trenching and underboring, and both of these are separate circuits fed from 2 separate distribution boards. So that's a wrap here at the Kingscliff TAFE. It's been an amazing project full of plenty of challenges and new experiences. The New Age team is very proud that we safely delivered this project on time, defect-free, and under budget.